Sometimes, kindness doesn't wear a smile. Sometimes, it wears leather, rides on chrome, and shows up when the world least expects it. It was just another quiet afternoon at a small-town diner, the kind of place where coffee is always fresh and the jukebox still plays old rock songs. But that day, something happened that no one inside would ever forget. A group of high school bullies decided to make fun of a disabled girl who had done nothing but smile. Within minutes, laughter turned cruel, kindness turned silent, and the air in the diner turned cold. But one man sitting in the corner saw everything. And when he left that diner, he didn't just walk away, he made a phone call that would change everything an hour later. Hey everyone, welcome back to your channel name, where we share powerful, true, and inspiring stories that remind us what humanity is all about. If this story touches your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories about kindness, courage, and the people who make the world better, one small act at a time. The diner sat just off Route 67, a local favorite for folks driving through town. Inside, the smell of fresh coffee and fried bacon filled the air. Waitresses moved between booths, calling each customer hon and pouring refills before anyone had to ask. It was that kind of place, cozy, familiar, safe. At a booth near the window sat Maya, a 17-year-old girl with soft brown hair, a pink hoodie, and a smile that could melt hearts. Maya had been born with a disability that made it impossible for her to walk, so her wheelchair had been her partner for as long as she could remember. But she never let it slow her down. She loved coming to this diner after school, reading her favorite mystery novels, and drinking her chocolate milkshake. That afternoon, she rolled in as usual. Becky, the friendly waitress, waved and called, "Hey, sweetheart, your booth's ready." Maya smiled, thanked her, and settled in by the window, ordering her grilled cheese and milkshake. Everything felt peaceful. Until the door opened. 3 high school boys, Troy, Derek, and Luke, swaggered inside. Loud, laughing, and careless, they dropped into a booth nearby. They'd seen Maya before at school and decided today was the day they'd entertain themselves at her expense. At first, it started small. A few whispers. Some snickering. Maya ignored it. She'd learned to. But then one of them crumpled a napkin and tossed it at her. She looked up, startled. "Hey," she said softly, trying to stay calm. "That's not funny." Troy grinned. "Oh, look, she talks." His friends laughed loudly. The diner grew quiet. The sound of forks and spoons stopped. Maya's face went pale, but she didn't cry. She just turned back to her book, hoping they'd get bored and stop. But they didn't. Troy stood up, walked over, and leaned down close. "You know," he said, his voice dripping with mock sympathy, "you'd be a lot prettier if you could stand up for yourself." Derek and Luke laughed again. Then, before anyone could stop him, Troy slapped her tray, knocking her sandwich and milkshake onto the floor. The cup burst open, spilling chocolate across her lap. Maya gasped, frozen in shock. Becky rushed forward. "That's enough," she shouted, her voice trembling with anger. The boys laughed it off and backed toward the door, still grinning. "Relax, lady," one of them said. "We're just joking." But no one laughed. Not a single person in that diner. And sitting in the far corner, quietly watching, was Ray, a broad-shouldered man in his early 40s, dressed in a black leather jacket with a patch that read Ironheart's Motorcycle Club. He'd been eating pie and coffee alone when it all happened. He didn't say a word. Not yet. When the bullies finally left, Becky helped clean up the mess. Maya sat trembling, holding a napkin in her shaky hands. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't mean to cause trouble." Ray stood up and walked over. "Hey," he said gently, crouching down beside her. "You didn't cause anything. Those boys did." Maya looked up at him, tears threatening to fall. "It's okay. I'm used to it." Ray frowned, shaking his head. "No. It's not okay." He helped Becky clean up, paid for Maya's meal, and left without another word. No one knew where he went until an hour later. It was just after sunset when the rumble began. The sound came from a distance, at first deep, steady, growing louder by the second. Customers looked up from their plates. Becky peered out the window. And then, the headlights appeared. A line of motorcycles, at least 10 of them, rolled into the diner's parking lot in perfect formation. The engines rumbled to a stop, and the riders, men and women, all wearing the same black leather jackets, dismounted. Ray was at the front. He pulled off his gloves, glanced at his watch, and said calmly, "Right on time." Becky stepped outside, eyes wide. "What's going on?" Ray smiled gently. "Just fixing what was broken." The bikers walked in together, not loud, not threatening, but calm, strong, and silent. The air changed instantly. Maya, still sitting in her booth, turned and froze. Her eyes widened. Ray gave her a small nod. "Hey, sweetheart," he said softly. "Mind if we join you?" She blinked, still unsure what to say. Sure?" The bikers filled the booths and counter, ordering coffee and pie like any other group of travelers. But their presence filled the diner with an energy no one could ignore, not anger, not vengeance, but unity. Protection. Then, just as the mood began to settle, the door opened again. The three bullies walked back in. Maybe they'd come for dinner, maybe to gloat, but the second they saw the bikers, they froze. Troy's face lost its smirk. Derek muttered, maybe we should." "Too late," Ray said, standing slowly. He walked over, his boots heavy against the tiled floor. The room went completely silent. "You three were here earlier," Ray said. "You remember her?" He pointed toward Maya. None of them spoke. Ray stepped closer. "I saw what you did. And I don't hate kids. But I do teach lessons." He turned to Maya. "You want to say something to them?" Maya hesitated. Everyone waited. Finally, she looked up, her voice soft but steady. "I just hope you never make anyone feel that small again." Troy opened his mouth, but no words came out. Ray nodded slowly. "Good enough." Then he looked at the boys. "Apologize." They mumbled something under their breath. "Louder, Joe," one of the biker women said firmly. Troy's voice cracked as he said, "I'm sorry." Maya nodded. "I forgive you." That moment hung in the air like quiet sunlight after a storm. The boys left without another word. And for the first time in a long while, Maya smiled, not because the pain was gone, but because someone had stood beside her when it mattered. The bikers stayed a while longer, laughing, talking, and making Maya feel like part of their family. They asked about her books, her favorite milkshake flavor, and her dreams. She told them she wanted to be a writer someday, to tell stories that helped people believe in goodness again. Ray smiled. "You're already doing that," he said. When it was time to go, Maya followed them outside. The air was cool, the stars just starting to appear. The bikers mounted their motorcycles, engines roaring softly. Ray turned back one last time. "Hey, kid," he called out. "Don't ever think kindness makes you weak. It's what makes you unstoppable." Maya smiled, tears glimmering in her eyes. "Thank you," she said. The engines revved, and one by one, the bikers rode off down the highway, their taillights glowing red against the darkening sky. Inside the diner, Becky wiped a tear from her cheek. "That was the kindest kind of tough I've ever seen," she whispered. From that night on, everyone in town remembered the lesson that kindness can roar louder than cruelty, that courage can ride in when silence fails, and that even a small act of compassion can change a life. Maya never forgot those bikers. She started volunteering at a local community center, helping kids with disabilities find their confidence again. And every few months, when the rumble of engines echoed down Main Street, she'd smile, knowing her friends were near. Because kindness doesn't always come in soft voices or gentle hands. Sometimes, it comes on two wheels, wearing black leather, and it shows up right on time. If this story inspired you, share it with someone who needs to be reminded that kindness is never weakness, it's strength in its purest form. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to your channel name for more stories that prove goodness still wins, even when the world forgets. Because sometimes, one act of kindness can change everything.